Snake Eyes is here, and we got quite a bit more cards than we expected. Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're talking about Snake Eyes and the associated cards, that being Diabellstar and the like. Now, obviously, I paired it with Fire Hydrants because it's funny, but also because this is one of the better decks to utilize the Snake Eyes engine with. So, I'm going to quickly go over the Snake Eyes engine because it is brand spanking new. This came out, like, today, as of when you're seeing this. And, so, yeah, let's quickly go through the actual Snake Eyes engine. If you don't know what it does, it's pretty simple. It summons a level 1 fire-type monster to your field. That is the whole goal of the engine, okay? Starting off here with the Wanted, Seeker of Sinful Spoils, which just adds a Diabellstar monster from your deck or grave to your hand. And then during your main phase, you can banish this card, target one of your Sinful Spoils spell traps, and then that is banished or in your grave, shuffle it into, paste it into the bottom of the deck and then draw a card. Very, very useful. It recycles this card, which is the original Sinful Spoil, Snake Eyes. Yes, everything in here is a UR except for Ash. I know, it's incredibly horrible. Complain about it in the comments. But we have the original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye, which is a 1-of. You send one other face-up card you control to the graveyard. Notably, this is a face-up card. Keep that in mind, because it will come up. Special summon one level 1 fire monster from your hand or deck. That's it. That's the important part that you need to know, because holy crap, that card is insane. Being able to special summon any level 1 fire monster is absolutely bonkers, especially when you can special summon things like a Fire Hydrant or Rescue Ace Hydrant, which is absolutely insane, and also gets you your entire combo. In theory. Not in actuality, but more or less, that's what it ultimately does. However, you can also special summon the new Salamangreat support, which hasn't come out yet, or a myriad of other level 1 fire monsters, which I will show you now. That being basically all of these. It's not all of them, it's not like the greatest, but notably the new TG monster, Rescue Ace, Jet Synchron, which is in here for a Baron combo, and a myriad of other things. Renowned is in here for Infernoble, so you could play that with Infernoble. You could summon Fireflint Lady, you could summon Bismugear, because it's funny. I don't know. There's a lot of there's still definitely a lot of options. If you wanted to, you could play bad Salamangreats to get a Salamangreat onto your field, so that's another option available to you. You could play Volcanics. There will be more level 1s that also come in the future, or you could also just summon Ash or Popular. We're going to talk about both of these. Also, I know that it's Poplar. It's funny you're saying Popular. It's originally called Populous, so there's that. We're going to talk about Ash. If on normal or special summon, you can add a level 1 fire monster from your deck to your hand. Then you can send 2 face-up cards to the grave to special summon a Snake Eyes monster from your deck, from your hand or deck. Really, really good card. We're going to get into that because Popular, if added to the hand except by drawing it, you can special summon this card. This is already fantastic because it means that if you search it off of Ash, you get a free special summon. Slaps itself onto the field, and then on normal or special, you can add a Snake Eyes spell trap from your deck to your hand. Now, notably, this is a Snake Eye trap. So, what that means is any of these traps, not the Wanted. But you can also add the 1-of, right? So you can add Snake Eye, which is very, very good. That means you have 3 Ash, 3 Wanted, and 2 Popular, which gives you access to 9 copies of Snake Eye. And it recycles itself with the Quick Play, so even with that, you're basically guaranteed to be able to see this card at some point. It's very, very consistent. On top of that, you can also grab Diabellstar. Now, I mentioned this previously, but this is the card you're actually grabbing off of the Quick Play. Which Diabellstar, the Black Witch, special summons itself from the hand by sending a card to the graveyard. This does not start a chain. This is an inherent summon, similar to something like Sidra or Pankratops, if you want other examples. So it just special summons itself for free by just sending a card from your hand or field to the grave. Already off to a great start. And then you can activate the effect if this card was normal or special summoned to set a Sinful Spoil spell trap directly from your deck. This plays around Ash and Maxi very well, meaning you get a free body onto the field. They cannot Maxi, or they just haven't at that point. And then you also set the card so you can't be ashed or drolled, which is very, very nice. Now, notably, they could still ash you on the actual activation of the Snake Eye, which does send a card to the grave, similar to Diabellstar, so you could actually minus But that's not too big of a deal, because that means that they're utilizing those interruptions instead on the Diabellstar stuff and not on your Rescue Ace stuff. Now, that's it for the engine. There's one other card that you can play instead of summoning, or with the Ash, you can tribute off your monsters to summon out Flumberg. Flumberg is absolutely insane. You can target a face-up card, or face-up monster on the field or in either graveyard, place it into its owner's spell and trap as a continuous spell. Doesn't seem too innocuous, but it's pretty good, because this allows you to set either your Ash or your Popular back into your back row, which is very, very nice. However, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one of those one monster card treated as a continuous spell on the field, special summon it to your field. If this card is sent from your hand or field to the graveyard, you can special summon it 2 level 1 fire monsters from your grave. So, first effect, you special summon back an Ash, Ash search Popular, Popular special summon itself. Popular search out the Snake Eye that you shuffled back with Wanted. Cool, now you have immediately 3 bodies on field. Granted, it's during the opponent's turn, but that's 3 blockers, and immediate follow-up. Okay? Absolutely insane. Alright? Also, Popular has an effect where if it's sent to the graveyard, it targets a fire monster in the grave and places it face up in the as a continuous spell, similar to this guy's effect. Got it? That's the engine. Hopefully it made sense. That is basically it. This is pretty standard for Rescue Ace. You can also play less of the Snake Eye stuff, like cutting out Ash and cutting out Flumberg, in order to play more non-engine, if you wanted to. In fact, I would suggest cutting out, like, Jet Synchron for Nibiru or something like that. Anyway, moving on. For the Rescue Ace, if you don't know what Rescue Ace does, it centers around setting 4 off of Turbulence. That's the whole gimmick. Hydrant basically just searches out a Rescue Ace monster and gives all of the spells and traps additional effects. That's all it does. It's a level 1 fire monster. Fantastic. Impulse can tribute itself if your opponent activates an effect on field, similar to Airlifter. They both have the same effect, where they tribute themselves, and then this one special summons from deck a Rescue Ace machine monster, and this one special summons a Rescue Ace monster from hand, except itself. Coolio? However, both of them have different first effects. This one, during your main phase, you can choose an effect monster your opponent controls with the highest attack, and neither player can activate that monster's effects on the field. So it's kind of a negate. Pretty good. Airlifter, however, also has the ability on normal or special to add a Rescue Ace spell from your deck to your hand. Now, as of right now, we don't have Emergency, but normally that would be what you search. However, you can also search Rescue Ace HQ. So there's that. We're also playing 1 Fire Engine, because it's kind of okay to search occasionally. If a Rescue Ace monster is normal or special summoned, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then, if a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Rescue Ace monster from your hand, deck, or grave. Pretty nice. And that is it for the engine. As for the rest of the cards, we're playing 1 Jet Synchron for a very high roll kind of board, making Baron and with Puzzlemino. There's not really much that you can do with the extra deck, so just put whatever you want in here, mainly. 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Called By, 3 Imperm, 1 for 1 because we're playing a lot of 1s, makes sense. And then we're playing 1 a piece of Rescue, Alert, Contain, and Extinguish. Rescue is a Monster Reborn, or it can target an opponent's monster with Hydrant on the field. Alert gives you the ability to search a card from the grave, add a card back from the grave, or search a card if you have Hydrant. Contain is a Imperm, basically. However, if you have the Hydrant, it prevents them from being used as extra deck material. And then Extinguish is a pop. Then if you control Hydrant, your opponent cannot activate the effects of the destroyed monster or of monsters with the same original name this turn. So, pretty decent. The Rescue Ace Hydrant isn't too important, but all of these do require a Rescue Ace card to be on the field. Or, I think it's just the traps. I think these don't. Yeah, these don't. The spells don't, but the traps do. And then HQ can shuffle cards back in order to draw a card. It's just like a way to recycle your spells and traps. As for the extra deck, we're playing 1 Formula, 1 Baron for the Puzzlemino Jet Synchron line. We're playing 1 Abyss Dweller as well for Puzzlemino. We're playing, obviously, 1 Puzzlemino. We're playing 2 Link 1s in Link Karibo and Relinquished Anima to get our level 1s off the field, which comes up a lot. We have the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, which is very funny because it just requires 2 fire effect monsters and then adds back a fire monster. Pretty good. We're also playing 1 Hita, obviously. We're playing 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the star of the show, Promethean Princess. If you don't know what this card does, I'm just going to read it. It's pretty good. You cannot special summon monsters except for fire monsters. Not that big of a deal. You can only use the following effects of once per turn. During your main phase, special summon a fire monster from your grave. No restrictions. Just bring it back. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field while this card is in your grave, you can target a fire monster you control and a monster your opponent controls, destroy them, special summon this card. No restrictions. Just pop them both. Now, this pairs really well with Amblo Whale, because Amblo Whale, if this card is destroyed, you can target a Link 3 or lower monster card in your graveyard and special summon it. Hey, bring back the Sunlight Wolf, because it's funny. Also, if a Link 3 is destroyed, Link 3 or lower monster is destroyed, while this card is in your grave, you can banish it to destroy a card in the field. Non-target. Pretty good. It's also big, which is also very nice. Then, of course, we're playing Apo, Access Code, and Underworld Goddess for additional cards. That's it for the deck list. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, here we are going second, and hey, that's Max C. Yes, I know. This is just going to kind of show you what overall you can do with this deck, and more or less the basics. Anyway, Max C, obviously on the Fusion deployment, drawn to the Max C, very comedy. They're going to grab up the Aluber. This hand from my opponent was very, very good. They're going to go and grab up the Branded Fusion, and then they're going to activate the Branded Fusion, and sending to the graveyard the Light Spellcaster to grab up Albion. I don't know why we didn't decide to send a second Cartesia or something like that, but okay. I draw Ash, which is right on time. They're going to set 2 and pass. This is still a pretty decent board for my opponent after getting Max Seed, so well done. We're going to go and normal summon the Hydrant, and then activate the Fire Engine to special summon it. Now, notably, Hydrant cannot be targeted for card effects if you control another Rescue Ace monster. It also cannot be targeted for attacks. So do keep that in mind. It's just another or a different Rescue Ace monster. So other than Rescue Ace Hydrant. So that's why they decide to fire the Imperm here. We're going to special summon out the Fire Engine, and then I'm just going to go to the battle phase to walk over the Blazing Cartesia. That's kind of scary. Now we can link off for Anima, because, hey, look, a zone. Now, I kind of messed up my zones. I shouldn't have put this where I did, but it's not that big of a deal. The reason I say that this is messed up is because we couldn't have gone Sunlight Wolf, which would have been nice. But that's okay, because we already have the Impulse, so we're going to fire off the Impulse here, and we're going to special summon. They're going to give me a Maxi, and I'm going to fire a second Maxi. Look, it's not the best replay, but it's something. Alright, out comes another Rescue Ace Hydrant, which is actually pretty good because we didn't use the previous one. And out comes at Max C. We're going to draw into the Flamberg, which isn't great. We're going to go for the Fire Engine here to special summon. Then they're going to go and activate the effect of Brightest Blazing Branded King. First of all, don't play this card. This card is so mid. It's just a brick like 90% of the time for Branded. It kind of does something here, but it's honestly not going to do a whole lot for my opponent. And the reason being is because they actually target the wrong card, but they kind of have to target the Albion. Oh, no, they don't. They could have targeted the Grand Ganol. They just didn't. They're like, I want my Albion, who's already used its effect and doesn't do anything. I guess it can't be targeted? I guess that's nice, but like, who cares? Grand Ganol needs to resolve. It's fine. My opponent's just not exactly the brightest. Anyway, here's where Promethean Princess comes up. So we're going to go into Promethean Princess and activate its effect to bring back the Hydrant. Again, we have not used this effect. Activate the effect to grab up the Turbulence, then go for the Turbulence at Banishing 2. Summon out the Turbulence here. Now we're already in phase 2, so this guy's going to go into defense position, and then we're going to link off the Hydrant in order to go into Amblo Whale. And again, I hear you saying, why send the Hydrant to the graveyard? Well, because Turbulence is going to go 1, 2, 3, and we have the 4th in hand. Not really all that great, but notably, Rescue in particular can just reborn the Hydrant, and it's not that big of a deal. So, yeah, we're just going to immediately do that. Rescue, bring back the Hydrant, he's now on the field, and now all of our effects are much stronger. They're going to go immediately to the battle phase, refuse to read Hydrant, and then pass. Cool. I'm going to activate the alert in order to add back the Fire Engine to my hand, because I can just use the Hydrant in order to add another card to my hand to normal summon. So I'm going to activate that effect, and my opponent just concedes. To be fair, 2 Maxis. But hopefully that does give you an understanding of what the deck overall can do. But yeah, there you go. Good game. Kind of. Alright, so here we are going first, and yeah, this is much more of the Snake Eyes half of the engine, so let's show you how that works. Immediately, special summon out the Diabellstar. Activate the effect to set the Sinful Spoils, and because I already have the Popular to search out the other Snake Eye card, I set the Wanted. Now, notably, it's been set, so it's a quick play, so it's not going to do anything this turn, but Popular is still going to be able to grab up the regular spell. We're going to activate the effect, sending to the graveyard, to which my opponent will activate the Maxi, to which I will activate the Ash. Yeah, we're not playing around that. Or no, we're not going to play through that. That's fine. Anyway, we sent the Popular to the graveyard, which notably Popular does have another effect in the grave. I'm actually going to activate it because it's funny to put the Ash Blossom into the Spell and Trap card zone. I probably shouldn't do this because it just clogs my zones, but it's also funny, so I'm gonna. Anyway, we're going to grab up the Hydrant, or we're going to grab up Turbulence off of Hydrant, and then since we have the Hydrant, we get to add from hand, or from deck, with Alert, any of the other Rescue Ace monsters. I grab Impulse. Impulse just happens to be the best one to have in hand. I could have also added the Fire Engine, but honestly, it's not really going to do anything. I think Impulse is just better here. You could probably make an argument otherwise, but that's fine. We're going to go for the Turbulent here, activate the effect, and we're going to set 1, 2, and 3. And there you go, pretty good. We're going to shuffle those up, and then we're going to link off all of those in order to go into, that's right, Promethean Princess. This card is absolutely insane. We're going to bring back another monster. My opponent just concedes there. But yeah, we bring back, we have the Amblo Whale. We can bring back off of the rescue to bring back with Hydrant. And then Hydrant with both of the traps is pretty decent, to be honest. So, yeah, good game. All right, so here we are going first, and this is a pretty decent hand. In the draw phase, I'm going to fire off the Wanted because this just plays around Droll the best. So we're going to grab up the Diabellstar and then immediately pitch the Turbulence to special summon out the Diabellstar. Here we're going to activate the effect of the Diabellstar, to which my opponent will activate a Royal Rare Ghost Ogre. Now, if you haven't already guessed what my opponent is playing, have you figured it out? We're going to set the Sinful Spoils. That's okay, because we already have the Hydrant. We're going to activate the effect of the Hydrant, grab up Turbulence, then link that off for a Link Karibo. I'm playing around something like Maxi. I'm like, okay, if you want to activate Maxi, I can go Turbulence. You get the one draw. That's fine. So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm like, they could have Maxi, they could have Imperm, they could have a myriad of things. I'm going to play around Maxi. That's the most scary. They don't activate the Maxi, so I'm like, okay, we're going to activate the Turbulence here. They will Imperm. Alright. Now, notably, this did banish our Hydrant that was in grave, but I think that's okay. But now we only have the one Turbulence as well. Now, we already have Contain, which is why I'm mostly okay with doing it this way, and kind of not playing around Imperm, but instead playing around Maxi. So, we can go for the Diabellstar, or the original Sin, and then we can go for Ash. Ash can grab up the Popular, Popular can special summon itself, and then we can activate the Ash's second effect, tributing both the Popular and itself in order to special summon out the Flumberg, which, that animation's kind of mid, I'm not gonna lie. We're going to put the Ash into the Spell and Trap card zone, and then we're going to shuffle back, or, sorry, put back the monster, the spell onto the bottom of the deck, and grab a Called By, which is kind of funny. And then I put Popular here. I didn't need to, but I did. And, yeah, anyway. We're going to set 3 and pass. So, my opponent is going to proceed. They're going to special summon the Pankratops. And I'm like, okay, sure. I'm going to activate my effect here, targeting the Popular. They're going to tribute to go for the Flumberg. And I'm like, okay, sure. I don't care about Flumberg. Like, I really don't. I know I have the Called By. I don't care. That's fine. We're going to grab up the Sinful Spoil that was put onto the bottom of the deck, and my opponent is going to steal my monster. This is the biggest mistake that they make. They should have drawn 2. They know I don't have Ash. And I get taking Turbulence is kind of important, and it does technically cut me off of Contain, so there's that. And I would imagine they're probably thinking that these are more likely Rescue Ace cards. They just don't happen to be that. But I still think drawing 2 is probably better. They do have Ray, so maybe they were thinking, oh, it's fine. They're going to go for the Zeke. That's fine. They're going to try and banish my Poplar. I'm going to immediately tribute for the Link Karibo that was in grave. Did you forget that was in there? I didn't. Out comes the Link Karibo. We're going to activate the Popular in order to put the Flomberg into the Spell and Trap. Remember that. We're going to go for Hayate. I'm like, that's fine. They're going to go to battle. I'm not going to take any damage. That's fine. I don't need the Link Karibo on field. They're going to send a Widow Anchor. Now, notably, they have 1 spell in grave. This is exactly why I was like, they should have drawn 2. Drawing 2 is absolutely the correct play. You need to get more spells into the graveyard, because right now, your spells don't do anything. Out comes Kagari, and I'm like, that's fine. Just kidding. I lied to you. I'm imperming you. I don't really care about Shizuku adding Engage, because you're going to die on the following turn. I know this. I already have Snake Eye, Original Sinful Spoil, in my hand. You're fine. They go for Shizuku. They can't grab a Widow Anchor, so of course they're going to grab Engage. Obviously, they would have done it anyway, and we're going to pass. We still have the Called By. Remember that. I'm like, they have one last card in hand. Guarantee it's a hand trap. There's no way it's not a hand trap. It's Sky Striker. Of course it's a hand trap. So I draw Ash for turn, which is absolutely insane, and I get rewarded for not special summoning my Popular on the previous turn. So we're going to special summon the Popular here, and then link those off into Sunlight Wolf, because they're both fires. And now we get to go for the Original Sinful Spoils to special summon a monster. Oh no, Ash Blossom, whatever shall I... Anyway, Called By. This is why we kept the Called By. Pretty good for us here. We get a Called By the Ash. Don't have to deal with it. Fantastic. Ash is negated. We now get to go for the Sinful Spoils. I special summon the Hydrant, and then Flomberg gets to trigger. That's right. Also, did you check? Were you paying attention? Did you get to see that you could send from the spell trap face up because it's face up card? Smart. You're clever. All right. So we get to bring back Poplar and the Ash. This is exactly why I did this. The way that I did is because I needed to get another name into the grave because it targets 2. It special summons 2. It doesn't special summon 1 or up to 2. It special summons 2. So you need at least 2 in grave for you to resolve this effect. Or to activate it at the very least. So there's that. So we special summon the Poplar and the Ash. So we're doing pretty good. We also add back the Flamberg. Yeah, there wasn't really a better option. Anyway, we're just making Promethean Princess here. Like, obviously we're doing this. We're going to go Promethean Princess. We're going to activate the Poplar, put Poplar into the back row. And then out comes Turbulence. Did you forget Turbulence was in grave? I sure didn't. Anyway, we're going to set the Extinguish as well as the Rescue. Since we already have the Contain, might as well set the Rescue so that we can bring back the other guy. We're going to go to the battle phase and we're going to walk over the field. My opponent is then going to activate the Ray, which actually just helps me. We're going to attack here. They're going to activate the Ray, and I'm going to activate the Impulse because the card effect was activated on field by my opponent's monster. We also search the Impulse off of Hydrant. Right. Anyway, summon out the Fire Engine. Out comes Hayate. We're going to activate the effect of the Promethean Princess. Hey, nice special summon. Anyway, die. Pop a card. Out comes Promethean Princess. And that is lethal. That's what this deck does. Good game. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, the engine of Snake Eyes is absolutely insane. And this is a very interesting way that Snake Eyes and specifically Rescue Ace has been paired together. Because unlike in the TCG or the OCG, we're missing things like Preventer or Emergency that really make this deck top tier. And even with that being said, just having access to Poplar and Promethean Princess, I think really pushes this deck over the threshold. I think this is still going to be a meta deck. Do I think it's going to be the best deck? Hard to say as of right now. I've literally only played like 5 games with it. But even with that being said, I still think that this deck has a lot of potential and is probably going to be one of the better decks. And this is still going to be one of the better shells for the Diabellstar engine. Do I think this is the best deck for this engine? Hard to say. It really isn't like definitive what's the best, but it's still very good. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about this engine. It kind of speaks for itself. It's really, really strong. You saw in that first game how good Flomberg is, being able to reborn stuff, being able to recycle in order to get this guy into the field, into rotation again. If you wanted to play more heavy Snake Eye, you absolutely could. In fact, you could play like an entire Snake Eyes engine, or a deck by itself, which I might do. But the biggest takeaway from all of this deck is fun. This deck is really fun to play. Because it's not just, stop, don't play the game, let me combo for 10 days. It's very simple, it's very low to the ground, and with the... You still have access to things like Promethean Princess to kind of like combo off and like make these big boards. But you also can just like Turbulence set 4. You can go for like Impulse, which is a really fun card to play, Airlifter, etc. Right? I mean, realistically, you could also be playing like Fire Attacker or something like that to potentially interact with your opponent with the Impulse there. So there's still a lot of options available to you, and lots of different things that you can play. You could play less of the Rescue Ace to potentially play more non-engine. You could cut down on the Snake Eyes as well. So very dynamic in the way that it plays, and it's very exciting. So I'm really excited for this deck, and I'm really excited to play it. But yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, I'd like to very much appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.